Hey guys, this is your host Eric. Today we are going to watch action genre movie called Kung Fu Girl. Spoilers ahead, turn on your subtitle, and enjoy. Shannon lives in Hong Kong, where she learns martial arts. Danny, her dad, runs a restaurant in town during the day and makes games at night. A few years ago, Shannon's mother died on the way to the airport because her father wouldn't drive her. Shannon thinks that he killed her mother. Since then, things haven't been the same between the father and daughter. Shannon lives in a dorm at her school and rarely goes home. Ricard, a boy in her class, is her biggest rival. He and his group of friends often pick on and hurt her. One day, the bullies go to Shannon's dad's restaurant and say that the food isn't spicy enough, even though they've already eaten it all. They won't pay. Shannon gets back at them and makes them pay up, which makes them feel ashamed. Ricardo throws the money on the floor and walks away. Shannon picks it up and gives it to her mascot-dressed father. She also tells him she's sorry that Ricardo was rude. The next day at school, Ricardo gets back at Shannon's friend's brother by making her brother trip and drop his lunch. Shannon's friends tell her to forget about it, but she doesn't want to let them off the hook. She sits with the bullies and eats from their plates with no fear, and was scared. Ricardo walks away with his friends, leaving her alone. Shannon finds out later that he ruined her clothes. Every day, the group makes her life hard. They laugh at her when she makes a mistake, trip her up a few times, and have even put frogs in her lunch. Every day, the owner of a nearby shop puts fighting machines in front of his house. Shannon is told that Ricardo has won every fight he has had up to this point. She uses the chance to argue with him in front of everyone. She even bets him that if he loses, she will wear a skirt. Ricardo then tells her that if he wins, she has to cut her hair and wear men's clothes. The fight starts and lasts for a long time, but it's clear that Ricardo has a lot more skill than he takes her by surprise and hits her in the stomach. After the punch, Shannon is in so much pain that she is almost knocked out. She can barely get up, and one kick is enough to beat her. Ricardo laughs at her, tells her that she has lost, and gives her a pair of scissors. Shannon gets it cut. The next day, she cuts her hair short and goes to school, where everyone makes fun of her. Ricardo calls her a man when she walks into class, making her even more angry than she already was. She attacks him when he doesn't stop calling her names. The teacher has to separate them in the middle of the class. Shannon is then taken to the principal's office before a fight breaks out. He calls Danny to tell him about Shen, the Shen that his daughter has. Danny says he's sorry for the trouble and that she's being mean because he hasn't been a good father. He also begs the principal this time to let her go. Some girls stop Shannon from getting her lunch from the cafeteria that day. Together with Ricardo, they have also been bothering her at school. Shannon's friend yells at everyone for standing up for a bully, but they don't pay attention because they don't want to make a scene. Shannon leaves her behind. She talks about her mother in the past tense. That's why she became interested in Kung Fu. Most moms dress their daughters in princess dresses, but Shannon's mom made her train from the time she was a baby. She thought that girls like Shannon were just as important to Kung Fu as Shannon was to Kung Fu that night. Since she hasn't been home in 3 weeks, Danny calls her and asks her to come home for the weekend. Shannon doesn't want to, but she agrees to go see him. After the call with his daughter, Danny calls an investor and asks him to come over to try out his new game. He made a virtual game where the only way to win is to fight in real life. Shannon goes home at night to see her dad. Danny tries to talk to her, but she is rude and doesn't want to talk. When told she's being rude, she fakes a laugh and keeps going. Danny also asks her about her hair, but when Ed points out that her behavior has changed, Shannon brushes him off and doesn't tell him that she's been bullied. After her mother died, she blames him for everything, and her words hurt her. Danny walks away. Soon after that, Shannon goes to his home office and starts looking around. She sees an odd necklace on the table but doesn't give it much thought. She also sees a headset on his desk and decides to use it. As soon as she puts it on, she is transported to a virtual version of China in the past. A group of people attack her out of the blue, but she fights back well. She also notices that her long hair is back. Then her eyes go to Ricardo, who is fighting his opponents while wearing traditional Chinese clothes. It turns out that the people he is fighting are thieves who are trying to steal food from a farmer's house. Shannon is shocked that Ricardo is finally doing something good. The group's leader, Norman, then steps forward to fight Ricardo. But he is no match for Ricardo's skill, and he is knocked out in just a few minutes. After the thieves leave, Ricardo gives the farmers back the bags of grain they had stolen. Shannon goes after him and asks how he got in. She soon finds out that he is a part of the game, but that he is not Ricardo and has a different name and personality. He also tells her about 2 strong thieves named Norman and Tyson. They have put together and trained an army to steal from the poor and take their food and supplies. So, Ricardo is giving his life to protect the people in his town. He is sure that his short-tempered brother Tyson will come to get even with someone else in the robbers' camp because Norman just lost. Tyson is very angry. He sends some of his people to watch out for them. Ricardo was watching the village for the best time to attack. Then Shannon gets a tour of the village and is shown the martial arts school. Darryl, her bully, is one of the good guys in the virtual world. The principal of her school also teaches martial arts. He thinks she is with the thieves, so when he finds out she is just a foreigner, he has his students surround her. He tells her he's sorry and shows her to her own room in the village. Shannon also meets the person in charge of the village. Ricardo gets sick and passes out all of a sudden. The group hurries them to the doctor in the village. Miss Aries, she knows how to fight and is great at it. When Ricardo gets better, she goes out with Shannon to look around the village. They find an old shed and see a person who looks very scary. Meditating, Aries says that the man in the shed is her father, who has been there for a year. It turns out that her father Bo used to be a traveler who helped people and caught thieves wherever he went. But after his mother died, he wanted to stay away from the rest of the world and hasn't left it. Shannon stays in the village for the next few days and learns different martial arts moves from the village leader. She and Ricardo work on their skills together and teach each other a lot. The village will soon run out of food. The head of the village cuts down from 3 meals a day to only 2 because there are more thefts. People who work there and people who live there are worried because they might die of hunger soon. So, Shannon, Ricardo, Darryl, and Aries steal grains by going to the robber's house at night. With a tube and darts, Darryl knocks out the guards. Then they break into the storage room and get ready to put everything in, even though the house's alarm goes off to let everyone know they've arrived. Aries goes in front of the enemies to save the others. The rest of the group is forced to leave without them. The next morning, Shannon asks the village head to save Aries, but he says no because Aries was caught stealing, which is against their rules. After that, she goes to ask Aries' father Bo for help. She tells him all about how her mother died and how she thought her father was to blame. Shannon says that her father couldn't be nicer to her, and she admits that she was wrong to blame him. Bo comes out of the shed, determined to save his daughter, just as she is about to give up. The group attacks the robbers' base and fights the guards before rescuing them. When the dad and daughter see each other again, they decide to take a trip like they used to. Shannon wants them to stay until all of the thieves have left, but Bao says he is sure they can stop the thieves. Tyson gets ready to attack the village with his soldiers when he finds out that his troops were attacked. Shannon, Ricardo, and Darryl come up with ways to stop him because they know he is going to do something like that. Shannon knows that since this is a game, there must be a way to beat the enemy. Then she thinks back to the necklace she saw on her father's table that was the same as the one a soldier was wearing. She is glad that her father gave her a hint. After a few hours, Tyson and his soldiers attack the village. The village leader and his students fight them with everything they have. Shannon sees the necklace and the man who is wearing it during the fight. But when she tries to fight him, she dies and is brought back to the real world. Shannon doesn't want to lose, so she puts on the headset once more. It turns out that she still has one more life, so she can keep playing from where she left off. This time, she beats the soldier and gets his necklace. When she opens the locket, she finds a picture of her mother right away. Shannon was able to figure out the clue and get rid of all of Tyson's soldiers. When all that's left is Tyson, they beat him and win the battle. The next thing we see is Shannon and Ricardo by the river. She tells him she misses her father and asks him to send her home. Ricardo tells her he will never forget her and sends her back home. When Shannon finally comes back, she has only been playing for a few hours. Danny and a possible investor had been watching her play the entire time. Shannon gives her father a hug and says she's sorry for being mean to him. The investor likes the game so much that he's willing to put 10 million yuan into it. There will be a national-level kung fu competition next week. Shannon and Ricardo have both entered the competition and been chosen, but in different categories. To get to the finals, they have to win 4 rounds. Still, when Shannon looks around on the day of the competition, she is sad that her father is not there. She tries her best and beats the real-life Aries easily. In the same way, Ricardo wins the next few rounds and makes it all the way to the final. In the semi-final, Shannon faces a guy, and after a tough match, she beats him. Now, in the finals, the two teams have to fight each other. As they get ready to fight, the crowd watches with great interest. Ricardo makes the first move, but Shannon moves out of the way of it. Likewise, Shannon's attacks all miss Ricardo, too. No one gets a good hit in the first round, so it ends. The round is over when the referee blows his whistle, but Ricardo plays foul and attacks Shannon even. His score goes down, but in the next round, he doesn't give up. Their skills and strengths seem to be about the same. Ricardo is furious when all of a sudden Shannon kicks him in the back and makes him fall down. Again, Ricardo doesn't follow the rules and hits her on the back of the knee. Shannon hurts, but she gets up and gets ready for the next round anyway. He kicks her in the back of the head this time, breaking another bone. Shannon is almost out, but she gets back up when she sees her father in a crab costume cheering for her from the crowd. She gets up and goes after Ricardo. She remembers the technique she learned with the virtual Ricardo and uses it on him. It works well, she knocks him out, and she wins the competition. As the crowd cheers, she runs to her dad and gives him a big hug. She is back at school in the last scene. She apologizes to Ricardo, who says that she should have won the last match. We really appreciate you watching. If you enjoy this video, please give it a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel with the notification bell because it is really important for us. Thank you.